movie on the Russiagate hoax. It's all documented.
There was an illusion being created using the most awesome tools and the greatest tricks that the American intelligence community had learned to use against our enemies. Now it was being deployed against the American people and our president.
This is the biggest political scandal in modern history, which makes Watergate look like a tiff.
The FBI director has no credibility.
The left used to not trust the FBI, and now they love them.
This can happen to General Michael T. Flynn. Imagine what they do to anybody who has a single strike against them.
35 Russian diplomats in the U.S. expelled.
The prosecution of General Flynn wasn't a pursuit of criminal activity. It was a setup.
Flynn actually had details. So he was talking about going after people's budgets. They were terrified.
Media didn't start as neutral. Media hasn't been neutral all its life.
The two faces of Hillary Clinton are coming out. The fact through WikiLeaks that she says one thing and
oh no. They worked hand in glove with Comey to try to delegitimize Trump. They were not there to tell the truth.
A political dirty trick is being carried out by our intelligence community.
Honestly, none of us really know, sort of holistically, what to think about this dossier.
They went into Congress. They said, there's nothing here. Doesn't matter. We'll keep going with FISA. We'll keep going with the investigation. And more importantly, we will go on TV day in and day out and lie to the American people to their face. And nothing's going to happen to us.
The nation and all of our freedoms hang by a thread. And the military apparatus of this country is about to be handed over to scum who are beholden to scum. Russian scum.
We had not one person claim that they had or had seen evidence of Trump colluding with the Russians.
Devin Nunes was the hero in the forest. He was alone. He was mocked. He was attacked.
Devin Nunes was subject to such scorn for saying the conclusions that we brought forth in that report, which all proved to be true.
Russiagate was a false story
to target their political opposition and to carry out their insurance policies.
I believe this is a conspiracy.
These guys have perpetrated the greatest crime against the American people ever seen. It was a coup d'etat.
This is how sick and twisted these people are.
I recently confirmed that on numerous occasions, the intelligence community incidentally collected information about U.S. citizens involved in the Trump transition.
It was shocking to see some of the overclassification that was done to hide either corruption or abuse of authority and just to make sure certain agencies didn't look bad.
We have a peaceful transition of power process. That's not what happened. There were more meetings. There were more leaks. There were more attacks.
The thing that they were investigating the Trump campaign for is what they themselves were doing. Not just the Democratic Party and their operatives, but also the FBI.
If I were writing about the time frame that we lived in and that we're living in now, I would say it wasn't supposed to happen. They weren't supposed to know.
The entire time this was going on, they thought this was going to be what sunk the Donald Trump presidency. And they were just looking for the golden goose, and they still haven't found it because it doesn't exist.
Hey, everybody. How are we doing tonight? We got a great show lined up. I'm so excited. Welcome to the Devolution Power Hour. We're going to be having Brian Cates join the stream, and we're going to go step by step through the Sussman indictment and kind of break it down for you. And I'm also going to give my take on why I think Tech Executive 1 is Sean Henry and Crowdstrike is Internet Company 1. But I know there's some other theories out there. And I think Brian may even have a different theory on that. So I'm curious to hear what he thinks. And I'll show you exactly the evidence that I found, if you can call it that ties it together. It's not much, it's circumstantial, but it is interesting. So let's, yes, I am Bob Son 1. I am in a state bordering Minnesota. Good guess. Okay, so let's bring Brian on and get this rolling. Hey, Brian.
Hi.
How we doing? Finishing up supper?
You're finishing up my meal here.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, I'm so excited to walk through this indictment with you. And even just talking to you briefly before, there's a few things that you'll point out as we go through. So we're just going to jump right in and go step by step. If there's any questions that come up in the chat, we'll get those thrown up on the screen as we're going through. And yeah, we'll go from there. So let's start at square one. And so I didn't do the first two. I kind of selected specific numbered paragraphs, but we'll start here. The FBI had in fact initiated an investigation of these allegations in response to a meeting that Michael Sussman, the defendant herein, a lawyer at a major international law firm, and Brian, we know that by now that is that would be Perkins Coie, correct?
Yes, it's Perkins Coie. All this was half. I mean, Devin Nunes revealed this. I believe it was back in early 2018, maybe even winter 2017. He went in there and he managed to get the bank records from Perkins Coie, which they fought like tooth and claw to keep from having to hand that over because there's a lot of stuff in there about who they were billing and why they were billing them. And so we've known this for a long time, but now Durham is showing how these billing records are tied directly to the activity of the Hillary Clinton campaign setting up this whole farce. Yeah. We'll get into that too. I think there's a couple spots where we'll cover some of the billing that went on. So I'm gonna skip down to okay, I'll finish this. Requested and held that the FBI General Counsel on or about September 19th at FBI headquarters. Sussman provided to the FBI General Counsel 3 white papers along with data files allegedly containing evidence supporting the existence of this purported secret communications channel. During the meeting, Sussman lied about the capacity in which he was providing the allegations to the FBI. Specifically, Sussman stated falsely that he was not doing his work on the aforementioned allegations for any client, which led the FBI General Counsel to understand that Sussman was acting as a good citizen, merely passing along information, not as a paid advocate or political operative. In fact, and as alleged in further detail below, this statement was intentionally false, misleading, because in assembling and conveying these allegations, Sussman acted on behalf of specific clients, namely U.S. Tech Industry Executive 1 and U.S. Internet Company 1, and the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. So what are your thoughts on that? Well, lawyers are all about getting paid, man. And that's how they got caught here, because that's how they caught Sussman. He's there telling James Baker, the FBI General Counsel at that time was James Baker. He's there telling James Baker, I'm not here on behalf of anybody else in my clients. I'm here as a good citizen. I'm giving you this stuff because I'm concerned about this. I'm doing this on my own. And then he goes back to Perkins Coie, sits down and builds the Clinton campaign. Yeah, and I have those. So all of this was ready to come. They've had this stuff. I want people to focus on this for a second. Devin Nunes got these records. I can't remember exactly when he's had them. I can't remember if it's 4 years or just 3 years, but they've had these financial records from Perkins Coie for years at this point. Okay, and now here it's showing up in an indictment from John Durham. So we've known for going on 4 years now, maybe 4.5 years, that this dirty trick campaign being run by the Hillary Clinton campaign, that Perkins Coie was the middleman. Yep, that's a great point. And I do like this question, who the next indictments are going to be, but I think we should save that till after the end, after we read through the whole thing. So let's go to the next one here. Sussman's lie was material because, among other reasons, Sussman's false statement misled the FBI General Counsel and other FBI personnel concerning the political nature of his work and deprived the FBI of information that might have permitted it more fully to assess and uncover the origins of the relevant data and technical analysis, including the identities, motivations of Sussman's clients. Had the FBI uncovered the origins of the relevant data? And about that? Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah. That you just read? Okay. Yep. Including the identities and motivations of Sussman's clients. Yeah, I mean, think about what happened here. You had a guy being paid by one of the political campaigns in the 2016 election, going to the FBI and feeding them a bullshit story and handing them some fake white papers Okay, and because they supposedly don't know who's looking for it. Okay, the FBI goes out and instigates an investigation of the other campaign in the 2016 election. I mean, it just
Yeah,
throws your mind.
It really is insane. Let's keep trucking here. Had the FBI uncovered the origins of the relevant data and analysis, and as alleged below, it might have learned, among other things, that one, in compelling and analyzing the Russian bank allegations, Tech Executive One had exploited his access to non-public data at multiple internet companies to conduct opposition research concerning Trump. In furtherance of these efforts, Tech Executive One had enlisted and was continuing to enlist the assistance of researchers at a U.S.-based university who were receiving and analyzing internet data in connection with a pending federal government cybersecurity research contract. And Sussman, Tech Executive One, and Law Firm One had coordinated and were continuing to coordinate with representatives, and agents of the Clinton campaign with regard to the data and written materials that Sussman gave to the FBI and the media. Do you have anything specific on that? Otherwise, I'll read the next one, and then I have a couple questions. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So in his work at Law Firm One, again, Perkins Coie, Sussman represented numerous clients in cybersecurity, privacy, and national security related matters. In or about April 2016, the Democratic National Committee retained Sussman to represent it in connection with the hacking of its email servers by the Russian government. In connection with his representation of the DNC as a victim of the hack, the defendant met and communicated regularly with the FBI, DOJ, and other U.S. government agencies. In or around the same time period, Sussman was also advising the Clinton campaign in connection with cybersecurity issues. Okay, so my thoughts on this are, this is around the same time as the DNC hack fallout, and I believe they're talking to CrowdStrike here. I think that's the group that in around the same time Sussman was advising the Clinton campaign in connection with cybersecurity issues. I'm curious what your thoughts are about who the Tech One and Internet Company One are.
I am not really the tech guy, and if there are other researchers like Phil Nelson and Dawson Isfield and others that have gone extensively into this CrowdStrike stuff and the supposed hacking of the DNC, and I have not dug into that to any real depth as much as they have. And all these guys are telling me this is not CrowdStrike. Right now, I think Phil Nelson was highlighting somebody. He had a long thread. They said he think it's a company called Newstar.
Yep.
JOFFE. I'm not saying that right. So they have some other guys out there that they're looking at, and it's all plausible. But yeah, some people are saying this is Sean Henry at CrowdStrike. Others are throwing around these other names, and I gotta be honest. I am not the expert on this one. I have not dug into that into any real depth, so I'm kind of reserving my opinion at this point.
Sure. Well, one of the things. So I'm going to show a little later on exactly why I think it's CrowdStrike, but just as it relates to this specific, it says, in or about April 2016, they were working with the Clinton campaign and all this stuff. So there's these.
Okay,
these
I had a thought. Could you scroll back a little bit? What was the one you showed before this one? Okay. Yeah. I wanted to bring something up here that a lot of people forget. Okay. Admiral Mike Rogers was the head of the National Security Agency back in 2015 and 2016. A lot of people don't remember this, but there was a furor at the time. There was a controversy because it was brought to Admiral Rogers' attention that certain private contractors were accessing classified databases, and they were actually mining these databases, not as part of their contract, but they were doing it for political reasons. And Admiral Rogers shut down the access that these private contractors had to these databases while a review was initiated. And a lot of people don't remember this, and that happened before July of 2016. I believe it was March or April 2016. This happened, and so one of the theories that we Spygate researchers were kicking around back in 2017 is the reason you end up with this ham-handed, hastily thrown together Steele dossier and Alpha Bank bullshit is that they're winging it. They're winging it fast because I believe we'll find out. They started spying on Trump as soon as he announced he was running back in 2016. They were already spying on him, and they were using these private contractors to do that. And then they got found out, and their access got shut off, and they were frantic to start it back up again. And that's why we ended up with. I mean, you read the Steele dossier, you can tell in your first reading of it, it's bullshit. Why were they forced into resorting to this desperate amateurish use of fake evidence? I think because they were desperate to get that surveillance started back up before the election, and then they were doubly desperate to maintain it after Trump actually won the election. But a lot of people don't remember Mike Rogers, and
that's a very interesting point.
Accessing all this classified databases, and they got shut out. Rogers shut them out.
Well, that's very interesting because that falls in line with my theory of devolution, where we have the military and their intelligence and not being okay with how politicized the corrupt intelligence agencies were using their info.
Did you ever notice the guy in charge of the NSA is always the military?
Yep. NSA, General Nakasone. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to show this again one more time. Around the same time period, Sussman was also advising the Clinton campaign in connection with cybersecurity issues. And here's a contract of CrowdStrike and Perkins Coie and the DNC, and the date here is May 2nd, 2016. And there's also another one for the DCCC. And again, CrowdStrike, Perkins Coie, May 2nd. And so this is basically Perkins Coie hiring CrowdStrike on behalf of the DNC and the DCC. So that's part one of where I see a connection between CrowdStrike and this tech one and internet company one. But I have another one that's coming up here in a little bit. Let's keep going. So law firm one, Perkins Coie, was at all times relevant to this indictment, an international law firm based in the United States. In or about April 2015, the Clinton campaign retained Perkins Coie as its counsel for the 2016 presidential election. A law partner at Law Firm One, Campaign Lawyer One, acted as the Clinton's campaign general counsel. So here, you want to fill everybody in on who Lawyer One is?
Well, everybody knows who this is because it's Mark Elias, who's Perkins Coie. He was functioning as the Clinton campaign's general counsel all throughout the 2016 election. So that's one name that there's definitely absolutely no doubt whatsoever about who it is.
Yep. I agree with you there. Best is yet to come. I'll maybe get into that in a future article too. As part of its efforts to assist the Clinton campaign and the DNC, Law Firm One retained a particular investigative firm, and this would be Fusion GPS, to gather information regarding Trump's purported ties to Russia. Throughout the presidential campaign, the U.S. investigative firm worked with Law Firm One, members of the media, and others to gather and disseminate purported evidence of Trump's ties to Russia. Any comment on that?
Well, the dirty tricks operation that was launched by the Hillary Clinton campaign, thanks to John Brennan's briefing notes that were declassified last October by Director of National Intelligence John Ratliff, we know that it was in late July 2016 that Hillary Clinton was shown a plan for this operation to smear the Trump campaign with a fake Russia scandal. And she approved that plan. I believe the exact date was July 26, 2016. And so at that point, that's when a lot of preparation had been underway before they even showed her the plan. The moment she okayed it, they leaped into action. And so you have Perkins Coie, Sussman, and these guys. They already have this whole Alpha Bank thing ready to go at that point. And you have the Fusion GPS has Christopher Steele ready to go, ready to start making up his memos that are going to be compiled into the Steele dossier. They have it all ready to go. All they needed was Hillary Clinton to give her okay, which she did in late July 2016. And so that's when Perkins Coie was the middleman, the Clinton campaign to, paying for all this and, we're hiring you guys. Do a good job now. Do a good job. Start this fake scandal, targeting the Trump campaign.
Yep.
And Perkins Coie is given the money, and Perkins Coie sends out its own people. They send Sussman out to start the Alpha Bank thing. But then they hand off money to Fusion GPS, and they say, okay, go to work, guys. And that's when people like Glenn Simpson, Peter Fritsch, and Christopher Steele go to work.
And they do it all under the guise of attorney-client privilege. So let's keep going here. Tech Executive 1 was at all times relevant to this indictment, an executive of a particular internet company, Internet Company 1, which offers various internet-related services and products, including domain name system, DNS, resolution services to its customers. DNS is a naming system for devices connected to the internet that translates recognizable domain names. A DNS lookup refers to an electronic request by a particular computer or device to query information from another device or server. I got to remove this comment here so I can keep reading. One sec. Okay. By virtue of his position at Internet Company 1 and other companies, Tech Executive 1 maintained a direct or indirect access to and the ability to provide others access to large amounts of internet and cybersecurity data, including DNS data. In or about February 2015, Tech Executive 1 retained Sussman as his lawyer in connection with a matter involving an agency of the U.S. government. Sussman also frequently served as an outside counsel to Internet Company 1, which was a significant source of revenue for law firm 1 and Sussman. At all times relevant to this indictment, Tech Executive 1 served as Sussman's primary point of contact at Internet Company 1. So curious, do you have any guess who this U.S. government agency is?
It's either the FBI or the NSA. I would lean towards it being the FBI. It's February 2015. That could be when this private contractor, this internet company with Tech Executive number 1 at the head of it, the contracted to start doing some database work for the FBI. And it was sometime in early 2016 that Mike Rogers becomes aware that some of these contractors are actually mining these databases for political data that they're handing off to other people. And that's when, like I said before, Rogers moves in to shut that down. So that kind of fits the timeline if they started this in February 2015. And of course, when they do this type of thing, you need to cover for yourself. So the tech company executive would go and hire himself a lawyer.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting here is that they mentioned an agency of the U.S. government, but they don't list it as part of the lawsuit. But they do that later. There is I think in a couple pages here we'll see where they actually list a different government agency as Agency 1. They mention an agency here, they don't list it. So whatever agency this was in this particular matter between Tech 1 and Sussman, it wasn't named in this lawsuit. Does that make sense? But we'll
they write an indictment, okay, and they have ongoing cases, and the investigation is still ongoing. They're very careful about what they're going to tell you. That's why they do all this mumbo jumbo. There's they call like investigative firm 1 where everybody knows it's Fusion GPS, and lawyer firm 1, and everybody knows that Perkins Coie. Okay, but the reason they do that is there's ongoing investigations. There's other people, they're never going to come out and say who it is yet. They don't want anybody to know. And so that's why they present just as much evidence, just as many names and things that people can figure out. They're going to show you just a little bit, just as much as they can to get the indictment. They're not going to go beyond that. They're not going to go further than that. They're not going to volunteer or anything.
Yep. Sure. Okay. Let's keep rolling here. The Russian bank allegations by, in, or around late July 2016, the aforementioned computer researcher who used the moniker Tea Leaves had assembled purported DNS data reflecting apparent DNS lookups between Russian Bank and Russian Bank 1, which is Alpha Bank, and an email domain. The purported data spanned the time period from about May to May 4th, 2016 through on or about July 29, 2016. So why I think this is interesting, this time frame, remember that the data started supposedly from May 4th through about July 29th, 2016. If we look back at the contract
Okay, hold on.
that
Go back.
CrowdStrike signed,
Go back
they
a
signed this
second.
agreement May 2nd. Sorry, 1 second here.
Okay, they just make this as a statement of fact. Originating One is an associate of Tech Executive One. And by July 2016, Tech Executive One and others, they're in possession of the Russian bank data. Great. But notice they don't tell you how did they get their hands on it? Who gave it to them? There's no back trail with any of this data. Okay.
I think that they get in.
The biggest things that I've learned from my time in investigating Spygate is that the reason I had to come out and tell you that Christopher Steele was this super sleuth, he was like a real life James Bond, instead of what he really was, which is an incompetent screw up. You can't really research anything. Okay, the reason they had to do that is they didn't want anybody asking any questions like, could it be possible that Christopher Steele is being fed Russian disinformation by Russians? And they're like, oh, they needed to get people to dismiss that idea from the start. Of course not. Guy's like a real life James Bond. How are the Russians going to fool him? Okay, and here I'm reading this indictment, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so this data from a Russian bank just magically appeared in the hands of these people, and nobody knows where it came from. Okay, and then they end up trying to use this data that they write these white papers and try to build it into a case that, oh my God, the Trump servers in communication with this Alpha Bank server in Russia. Trump compromised by the Russians. They try to build it into this,
Yeah.
I'm very interested in how Tech Executive One, where did that data from the Russian bank come from? How did he end up with it?
Yeah, I think they go into it. Question from the audience, Radical767. Do you think individuals like Sussman are turning state's evidence?
Well, I have a theory. Some of these people are going to flip, but we won't know who until much later. And you have to understand, I think Kleinsmith pleaded not guilty at first, too. And then when he realized they sat him down and they showed him the full extent of what they had, he changed his mind pretty quick. And he pleaded guilty. So you have to understand, when it comes to pleas and stuff like this is a very fluid situation. It could be, I don't know. It could be that offered Sussman a deal. He said, screw you, I'm not impressed, and I'm going to fight you. And he turned it down. It could be they offered him nothing. They got him cold. They don't need to offer him anything. They don't need his cooperation. They already got all the evidence. So I don't know who's flipped and who hasn't. It could be some people have gone state's evidence, but if so, it'll be a while until we know.
Sure. Okay, so I want to go back to this here quick one more time before we move on. In paragraph 16 at the very end, the purported data spanned the time period from on or about May 4th, 2016, and that is just 2 days after CrowdStrike was hired by Perkins Coie on behalf of the DNC, which was May 2nd. So that happened May 2nd. 2 days later was when the purported data spanned the time period from there. So that's when they started getting data on from the bank.
You notice July 2016 keeps popping up. Yes, remember.
Yep.
Remember what the date is that Hillary Clinton, they say, okay, here's our plan. Here's what we want to do, and she signed off on it. She gave them the nod. It was July 26th. It's right there in Brennan's note, the date Hillary Clinton gave the approval. And so all of a sudden, in late July 2016, all this activity starts happening.
Yeah.
And then they're never going to come out and tell you, yes, and Tech Executive One says, yes, Hillary Clinton gave the nod, and then I've been gathering this material for a while, and we launched our operation to target the Trump campaign with a fake Russia scandal. But it's obvious if you read between the lines. July 2016, a lot of activity starts happening.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that's a good point, Brian. Let's keep going. At all times relevant to this indictment, Originator One was a business associate of Tech Executive One. Here's that date again. By in or about July 2016, Tech Executive One and others were in possession of Russian bank data. also in or about July 2016, Tech Executive One alerted Sussman to the Russian bank data. So again, this is all around the same time, I believe, of the DNC hack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So let's keep going.
I don't remember the exact date that happened though. Like I said, I'm not the big DNC hack tech CrowdStrike guy.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll keep going here. Over the ensuing weeks, and as part of their lawyer-client relationship, Sussman and Tech Executive One engaged in efforts with Campaign Lawyer One and individuals acting on behalf of the Clinton campaign to share information about the Russian bank data with the media and others, claiming that it demonstrated the existence of secret communications channel between the Trump organization and Russian Bank One. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. What they're trying to do here, and then they got the funding. They're being paid to do this, by the way. You know, they're being polite. This is called lawyerese. They're being very polite. They're saying basically these guys at Perkins Coie and these tech guys, see that the way they frame it, you're being given a cover story right here. The way they frame it is, wow, we just ended up with this Russian bank information and we examined it, and it looked like, hey, this Trump Tower server is talking to this Alpha Bank server in Russia, and so it's not that we're being paid to make this up. We just started working together spontaneously to bring this to the attention of the FBI. You know,
sure,
it's obvious what happened if you read between the lines. Clinton gave the nod. The money was disbursed. The operation was launched, and so could you put that back up real quick?
Yep.
And they go to the media and they claim to the media it demonstrated the existence of the communication channel. Okay, and what we're going to see as we go through this indictment, these same guys that are approaching the media and telling them this bullshit story, they're admitting among themselves in their emails that this is bullshit. So they can look, this is not going to convince anybody. You know, they try to convince each other, folks. Okay, if you got to pretend you don't know anything about this, and you read this white paper we prepared, would you be convinced? And one of them tells the other, no way, you know, this is too weak, this is not going to work. And they're talking amongst themselves about this, you know, so this is why all these guys have ended up in such trouble, that they decided to launch this anyway, and then it was bullshit.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Oh, sorry, question from Lindak. Did Durham have to act before statute of limitations were up and after 5 years?
Yes. The statute of limitations on perjury is 5 years. So if you're going to charge somebody for perjury, you have 5 years to do it. And so I think the date was going to expire this Sunday. So that's why people may not want to hear this, but that's why we saw this particular indictment right now. Durham decided he was not going to let this go. He was not going to let Sussman get away with lying about who he was representing when he approached the FBI to hand them this fake evidence, this evidence that he knew did not establish what he claimed it did. And so Durham had to do that by the date that the statute of limitations ran out, and he did.
Gotcha. Okay, let's keep going. Tech Executive One uses access at multiple internet companies. As alleged in further detail below, in around the same time period, and in furtherance of his efforts with Sussman and Campaign Lawyer One to disseminate allegations regarding Trump, Tech Executive One uses access at multiple organizations to gather and mine public and non-public internet data regarding Trump and his associates, with the goal of creating a narrative regarding the candidate's ties to Russia. Comments on that?
Yeah, okay. And so around the same time, July 2016, yes, this guy goes full bore into his data mining thing. And Roger, okay, actually it's earlier than July 2016. They were already doing this. They were already doing that with multiple agencies. And, you know, it may not have just been the FBI. They may have been a contractor with other agencies. It does say multiple agencies in the indictment. They contracted to multiple agencies. And so they're mining these databases, and you know there's supposed to be all kinds of safeguards in place to keep from happening what happened here. When you have a private contractor in there, and they're corrupt, and they start using their access to these hiring classified databases for their own political purposes, and they start mining it, looking for stuff they can use against that they can get paid for. If you get access to this kind of stuff and you're dirty, you can sell it. You can get confidential information about people, and you can blackmail them, and you can do all kinds of stuff.
It's because they're printed on white paper. Just kidding. Do you know why they're called white papers?
No, I don't. I just know they're called white papers. When one of these private firms does a research thing and they try to prove something, it's called a white paper. They put it together. It's the result of their research. Somebody made a good point yesterday about how, it was Matt Taibbi, and he has a retrospective that he wrote shortly after the Mueller special counsel ended with a whimper and not a bang. And he went back over everything that had gone on in the Mueller special counsel. And I linked that column he wrote several times, but it says in there, one of the biggest dirty tricks on Wall Street is that a financial firm will pay a private spy or private intelligence firm to create a white paper targeting another firm, targeting a stock. And then they'll try to hand that white paper to the SEC or the FBI. Wow. And it can be complete bullshit. But the moment if the SEC or the FBI takes it, then they can link that, oh my God, company X or stock Y is now under federal investigation. And the stock will drop. It's just that people pull this shit all the time.
That's so dirty.
They write white papers and they try to hand it off to somebody, and then they leak it. Okay, and that's exactly the game these guys were playing with these white papers. Because as soon as they gave that stuff to the FBI, I mean, they were leaking the allegations to the media before they even gave it to the FBI. Sussman tells Baker when he's meeting with him, oh, by the way, I've already met with the New York Times. I've given this to the New York Times,
Yep.
It's just the same crap. It's the same crap going on here.
Interesting. Okay, let's keep going here. Tech Executive One later shared certain results of these data searches and analysis with Sussman so that Sussman in turn could provide them to the media and the FBI. For example, in or about early August 2016, the same time period of his aforementioned communications with Sussman and campaign lawyer One, Tech Executive One directed and caused employees what?
Okay, look at point number 22. Yeah.
Yep.
Tech executive later shared certain results of these data searches. Okay, look, these are just classified databases. He's taking classified information out of these databases and he's giving it to Sussman, who was in turn going around and handing the stuff off to reporters into the FBI. So yeah, Tech Executive One is going to be indicted. If this stuff is classified and it looks like it is, yes, he's going to be indicted for this.
Big trouble. For sure. For example, in or about early August 2016, the same time period of his aforementioned communications with Sussman and campaign lawyer One, Tech Executive One directed and caused employees of two companies in which he had ownership interest to search and analyze their holdings of public and non-public internet data for derogatory information on Trump. Exactly what you said. That guy's in big trouble. Tech Executive One. Let's keep going. Unless you got anything to say particular about that last part.
If you put that back up, let me read it again, okay?
Okay, so this is the next section. Also, in or around the same time period, and in connection with Tech Executive One's joint efforts with Sussman, Tech Executive One similarly organized Originator One and two computer researchers, Researcher One and Two, who worked at a U.S.-based University One, to search broadly through internet data for information about Trump's potential ties to Russia. In connection with this tasking, and as alleged in further detail below, Tech Executive One's goal was to support an inference and narrative regarding Trump that would please certain VIPs. Moreover, and as alleged below, Tech Executive One provided information that he gathered through these interactions to his lawyer, Sussman, so that Sussman could assist in drafting and disseminating materials to the media and the FBI. Thoughts?
They're being very cagey when they say non-public data. See, they're using language that they don't want to alarm anybody. That's what they're doing. But when you read non-public data that this internet tech agency was mining these classified federal databases for information, and they were taking this non-public data and then using it for their own political purposes. Okay, that's classified information. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
they're
if
in
you remember
big trouble.
the huge stink that was made. You can find all kinds of examples. I remember one case of a Navy sailor that took a picture of some sort of classified text on a stub on the stowaway camera, and he threw the camera away. And somebody found it. They developed the pictures, and they were able to prove it. He took a picture of a classified object on a nuclear submarine. And they threw the book at him, and he got 5 years in prison. And they proven that he was trying to sell that or give that to somebody for any political reason. Or what happened to General Petraeus, who was found to have had a classified agenda log or something at his home he wasn't supposed to have there, and he showed it to his mistress. He ended up having the book thrown at him. Okay, and here you have this guy. Talking about they're taking non-public data. Okay, that's if you want to use legalese and you don't want to alarm anybody, you don't want anybody to really, you don't want to be blunt about what you say. You want you want to just kind of gloss it over. Okay, yes, these guys are taking classified information and they're disseminating it to the media, and they're doing it for their own political reasons.
Thank you, Costa Rica Dave. Okay, let's keep going, because this is where I'm going to show you guys why, more circumstantial evidence why I think Tech Executive 1 is CrowdStrike. So background of the Agency 1 contract. At the time of these exchanges, in or about August 2016, a federal government agency, Agency 1, was in the process of finalizing but had not yet signed a cybersecurity research contract with University 1. The Agency 1 contract. The primary purpose of the Agency 1 contract was for the University 1 researchers to receive and analyze large quantities of non-public and non-public data, including DNS data from various internet companies, in order to identify the perpetrators of malicious cyber attacks and protect U.S. national security. So I see you're pointing out you have something to say, and then I'll
those contracts you sign make it very clear why you're being given this and what your responsibilities are once you're given access to this information. It's national security data, and you better be careful with what you do with it. Okay, and what these guys were doing is they were cherry picking stuff from it and running and handing it to the lawyers at Perkins Coie, and who was turning around sharing it to members of the media. It's a fiasco.
Yep, I hear you. Okay, so now let me show you why I think this is CrowdStrike. Okay, so I'm gonna read this last part again. To receive and analyze large quantities of public and non-public data from various internet companies in order to identify the perpetrators of malicious cyber attacks and protect U.S. national security. They were negotiating this contract in August. You'll see on this next one, they signed the contract in or around November 2016. Okay, so now let me show you this contract I found. So a $17 million contract will help establish science of cyber attrition. Look at the date, November 29th, 2016, and we'll go back to this again. The contract was not signed until in or around November 2016. Okay, so back to this. The Georgia Institute of Technology has been awarded a $17.3 million cybersecurity research contract to help establish new science around the ability to quickly, objectively, and positively identify the virtual actors responsible for cyber attacks, a technique known as attribution. And again, guys, this is with the Department of Defense. But let me show you one more thing. Georgia Institute of Technology is the university that was awarded. The founder of hold on, Brian. The founder of CrowdStrike graduated from the Georgia Institute of Technology. So this is why I'm heavily leaning towards CrowdStrike being Internet Company 1. Thoughts?
This company was given access to this highly classified, sensitive stuff because they were going to be brought in to help improve the national security of this country. They were not given access to this stuff so they could take things from these databases, from all this national security information, and turn around and sell it or hand it to a political campaign or operatives from a political campaign to help them win an election against the other political campaign. That's not why they're being given access to this. This is a massive scandal. This is a national security scandal.
Yeah, it's huge. And I mean, do you think the connection here is relevant? I mean, he graduated from the founder of Crowdstrike graduated from Georgia Institute, and this has to be the contract that was signed. This is, I mean, it's the exact same description.
It's the same. It graduated from Georgia Tech. It's obviously Georgia Tech is this company because they signed the contract in the right month of 2016.
Yep,
so
and it's so
a very good case. But this just blows my mind now that I think about it. Like I said, I haven't really gone right into the tech stuff, the Crowdstrike stuff. There are other guys that are really good at that. And I haven't really looked that much into it. But it just hit me while we're going over this. That this company signed the contract. They're being told by these federal agencies, we need you to help us with our cybersecurity. We want to hire you to help us improve the nation's cybersecurity. And they go, yeah, great, fine, pay us for that. And then we'll turn around and we'll use our access to store political points and be paid as political operatives for a political campaign to help them attack this other campaign in the 2016 presidential election. This is a fiasco of Mount Everest proportions that this happened. And so I'm telling you, people who look at this indictment and say, this is it, Durham's not going beyond this. Bullshit! Bullshit, he's not going beyond this. He's showing you right here in this indictment a massive national security scandal. And too many people are too dumb to see what this indictment is clearly pointing at.
I love it when you get fired up like that, Brian. Don't be afraid to yell more often. I love it. Okay. I'm gonna see if this works. I think I disabled the ads, but I'm gonna see if I can run one quick. So bear with me, be patient, guys. I think if you're a subscriber, you don't have to see the ad. So 1 second. Let's see if that works. It says it's running. I don't see anything though. Can you guys tell me if the ad's running?
I don't see anything. Maybe I'm special now because I'm watching the streamer. I'm not watching the Twitch channel. I'm on the streamer right there. Because if I have both channels open at the same time, it messes up my captioning. I can only have one open at a time. Okay, they said they got the ads. They got big bills, man. That's fine.
Yep. That's I think if you're a subscriber out there, you guys don't see the ad. So there's 6 seconds left, 5. Let's wait 1 second. Okay, welcome back, everybody. If you were unfortunate enough there to witness an ad, that means you're not subscribed yet. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and you won't have to catch the next ad. So we're going to keep going. Here, let's move on to preparing the white paper. So despite the aforementioned views that the Russian bank data and allegations were a red herring that should be ignored, and this was some of the people that were researching it, I skipped a few pieces here, but some of the researchers were questioning, that there was no hard evidence there for this collusion. Anyway, Sussman and Tech Executive One, Originator One, and the university researchers began to draft, review, and revise a white paper summarizing the Russian bank allegations that Sussman would later provide to the FBI. Sussman continued to bill time on these matters to the Clinton campaign. So Sussman was billing the Clinton campaign to create a knowingly false story
right there,
conclusion
right
with.
there in black and white. Even while they're putting this stuff together, this is bullshit. But hey, it's all we got to work with. So they keep going, keep trying to build this into something they can hand off to start a Trump-Russia scandal with the FBI. But they're among themselves saying this is bullshit. This isn't going to work, you know. And they knew all along what they were doing. That's why I say all these people, especially just the first one, all these people are going to wind up being indicted. And you know, and not just them. Yeah, think back to John Ratliff doing that declassification last October, the John Brennan briefing notes. Hey, the whole jig was up. The jig was up the moment Ratliff declassified those briefing notes. You can go right in there and read the Brennan notes where he talks about how Hillary Clinton had okayed a dirty tricks operation brought to her by her campaign. And that means, okay, and who's briefed for that? Obama gets that briefing. Biden got that briefing. And FBI Director James Comey and lead crossfire hurricane agent Peter Strzok, they're given a memorandum from the CIA in September of 2016, alerting them again to the fact that, hey, guys, listen, Hillary Clinton's launched a smear campaign. She's launching a fake Trump-Russia scandal using her political operatives. Of course, they know all about it by then. These people have been approaching them for 5 months at that point. Okay.
Yep.
So everybody knew that they were trying to take bullshit and they were trying to shape it into a form that they could get this thing going. The people talking about the white papers, they know it's bullshit. The people talking about the Steele dossiers, they knew it was bullshit. And that's the great thing that Durham's going to prove this. Everybody involved in this knows it's bullshit.
I agree with you. Let's keep going. Sussman shares the Russian bank allegations with the media. In around the same time period, Sussman, acting on behalf of Tech Executive One in the Clinton campaign, disseminated the Russian Bank One allegations to the media. Sussman again billed his time to the Clinton campaign. So he billed the Clinton campaign to knowingly disseminate false information that he knew was false to the media, again to hurt Trump. Big trouble. Who is the media? Do you know who the media person was?
What specific people that
I think there was one listed here, wasn't there?
Okay.
Okay, no, never mind.
Around the same time period. Yeah, starting in July all the way through September, Sussman's going to a lot of different media people.
Yeah.
I don't know which exact ones. I don't have a list for you. I know he approached David Corn. He approached reporters at the Washington Post and New York Times. And the thing is, a lot of these people, the media reporters at this time, they were adopting a clever strategy. They had a way of dancing around the allegations without being specific, without giving any specifics. There are rumors that, they wouldn't come out and give any names. They wouldn't give any specifics. That's what they were doing with the Steele dossier, starting from July all the way through the election. They would not specifically tell you anything. Right out stuff from the Steele dossier. They only give you vague allegations. There are rumors that Trump advisor Cody Page was in Russia and he was offered a bribe, but they didn't give you any numbers. They didn't give you any specifics. Okay, and so that's what Sussman's doing. He's meeting all these reporters and he's just giving very vague allegations. He only gave the white papers, I think, the evidence that says there in the indictment. He only gives the white papers and the thumb drive. He only gives those to the two federal agencies he went to, the FBI and whoever the federal agency two was. But when he meets with reporters, he's very vague. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's just allowing them to publish very vague allegations and no real specifics.
Yep. Great point, Brian. Let's keep rolling here. On or about September 19th, 2016, Sussman met with the FBI general counsel at headquarters to convey the Russian bank allegations. No one else attended the meeting. During the meeting, the following in substance and in part occurred. Sussman stated falsely that he was not acting on the behalf of any client, even though he was, which led the FBI counsel to understand that Sussman was conveying allegations as a good citizen and not as an advocate for any client. Although I'm assuming that Sussman is just a stand-up individual, I don't believe that last sentence there. Sussman stated that he had been approached by multiple cyber experts concerning the Russian bank allegations. He just did not disclose that he was paying for them. Sussman provided the names of 3 cyber experts, but did not name or mention Tech Executive 1, Clinton campaign, or any other person or company referenced. Sussman described the allegations of a secret Trump organization server that was in communication with Alpha Bank, including that Alpha Bank had used a Tor exit node located at healthcare company 1 to communicate with the Trump organization. Comments?
Okay, it's very important, that point too, that he did not identify to Baker who Tech Executive 1 was, his client.
Yep.
One of his clients that he was working on behalf of. That's because I think, and that's probably because if your theory is correct, if it's Crowdstrike, everybody knew by then Crowdstrike's been hired by the Clinton campaign. Okay, now maybe Baker, if he's gullible, could say, I've got a Perkins Coie lawyer sitting in my office and he's telling me, and everybody knows by that point, Perkins Coie has been retained as the counsel for the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. He could be telling himself, now, this guy who I know works for the law firm that's been hired by Hillary Clinton is telling me he's here on his own. Okay, and so maybe he could, okay, yeah, fine, it's a little hard to believe, but I'll go along with it. But if he comes out, if Sussman comes out and tells him, oh, by the way, I'm here on behalf of Dmitry Alpatich, I'm here on behalf of the guy that runs CrowdStrike. Okay. Yep. I can see Becker going, I don't know if I could stretch my credulity that far. Yep. Okay, because you're a Perkins Coie lawyer working for Clinton, comes and tells me that one of the tech experts that has given him this Russia Alpha Bank stuff is the hot top executive at CrowdStrike. I don't know if I can stretch my credulity quite that far. Okay, yep. I think that's why Sussman deliberately leaves the name out, because that person is too closely tied to the Clinton campaign at that point.
I agree with you. Okay, let's keep going here. I just have like 4 more screenshots left. In or about late 2016 and early 2017, Tech Executive 1, Originator 1, Researcher 2 continued to compile additional information and data regarding the Russian Bank 1 allegations and gathered other purported data allegedly involving Trump-related computer networks and Russia, collectively the updated allegations. Sussman would later convey these allegations to another U.S. government agency, Agency 2. In doing so, and as alleged below, Sussman repeated in substance the same false statements he made to the FBI General Counsel, that he was not acting on behalf of client. I think Agency 2 is the CIA likely, because back here where we see Agency 1, that's the DOD from that contract, I believe. Did you catch that at the bottom there? The end of the first highlighted part, the Agency 1 contract. And then so I think here Agency 2 would, and they're already talking about the FBI, so it's not them. So this is either what, the CIA or NSA probably? What do you think?
Well, I'm not going to get into any specific agency who I think which agency it was. I just noticed that Sussman's trying to repeat the same playbook. He went to the general counsel of the FBI, got a meeting, sat down there, told them the story that he knew was bullshit, handed him this evidence that he knew was fake. And the FBI did start an investigation. It worked. Okay, so they did start, hey, we'll look into this, and they did. They didn't find anything. Yep. Okay, so then Sussman tried the same thing with Agency 2. Yeah, it could be a Department of Defense agency, could be the NSA, could be the DIA. I don't know. I mean, there's several different agencies in the Department of Defense, not just one monolithic thing.
Yep.
And so he's trying the same playbook. And
that's a great point.
The same playbook, he tells the same lie. So I'm not here on behalf of anybody. I'm just here as a good citizen. I'm doing this on my own because I care.
Yep.
And he repeats the same lie. And these people take notes, man. I think you're probably have this in one of your screenshots. These people take extensive notes.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, he gets caught in the second lie. Second time he gets caught telling the same lie.
I got that coming up here.
He was really working for him.
I got that coming up here, so we'll keep going and we'll get to that those notes here. In or about late December 2016, Sussman contacted the General Counsel of Agency 2 to set up a meeting regarding the updated allegations, but the meeting did not go forward. Approximately 1 month later, Sussman contacted a former employee of Agency 2. The former employee, in a further attempt to obtain a meeting at Agency 2, the former employee communicated with Sussman on or about January 31st, 2017, during which the following in substance and in part occurred. I almost wonder if, now that I'm just thinking about this, could that former employee be either Brennan or Clapper?
No idea. Well, I know I just had a thought while you were reading that. He already, the Alpha Bank thing was already launched. They already launched that earlier in the year when he got it with the FBI. He launched it with the FBI. He got several media outlets to publish the Alpha Bank allegation. So that thing was out there. Hey, mission accomplished. Why did he go to Agency 2? I tell you what, I think his greed did this guy in, because you only get paid if you have hours to bill, right? I mean, you only, so he got to show that Mr. Clinton, I'm out here, I'm working hard. I work hard for you. I got the FBI to launch this bullshit fake investigation of the Trump campaign based on this Alpha Bank stuff, that I helped create. And now, Mrs. Clinton, I want you to know that I want more money from you. I'm going to Federal Agency 2. And I'm gonna try to get this thing going. I'm gonna carefully log my hours, Mrs. Clinton. I'm gonna carefully log my hours as I approach Federal Agency number 2. And they turned me away the first time, but I kept trying, ma'am. I kept trying. A month later, I went back and I got a successful meeting. And now I'm billing you for it. Pay me, bitch. Okay?
Yep.
I think you greed did him in. They pulled that trick off once. And then to get paid again, to get more money, more billable hours, he did it a second time.
That's what, whenever I tell my boss, pay me, bitch, it never ends well. So it seems like it worked out a little better for these guys.
Well, I'm exaggerating.
I know, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing. But for those of you who the Twitch stream broke up, but we can when I upload this to Rumble or wherever I upload it to, you'll be able to see the full thing. There'll be no interruptions. So the StreamYard is going to be a full, complete interview. For those that got, booted out, we're still good there. Okay. I already read that one. Let's go to this one. So this is where he contradicts himself. In or about December 2017, Sussman testified under penalty of perjury before staffers of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, which was investigating Russian interference and other matters relating to the 2016 presidential election. During his testimony, Sussman directly contradicted his false statements to the FBI and Agency 2 that he was not acting on behalf of any client. Question: when you decided to engage the two principals, one, the FBI General Counsel in September and the General Counsel of Agency 2 in December, you were doing that on your own volition, based on information another client provided you. Is that correct? Sussman says no. Question: so did your client direct you to have those conversations? Sussman said yes. Okay, and your client also was witting of you going to Redacted in February to disclose the information that individual had provided you. Sussman says yes. Okay, I want to ask you, so you mentioned that your client directed you to have these engagements with the FBI and Redacted and to disseminate the information that client provided to you. Is that correct? And you know what? I think I missed the next part. Let me pull up the indictment here. What, you want to comment on this so far while I get the next piece up?
Okay, it's all fun and games until you find yourself under oath, being questioned by somebody who has the evidence, who has the documents. I guarantee you, by the time Sussman had to sit down and give this testimony, he knew he had to tell the truth. So he's telling these guys, yes, I did this at the direction of my client. He had to tell the truth, and he did. And that's why this is what makes his pleading not guilty. And it tells me exactly what kind of defense he's going to have to mount. If he says he didn't do this, okay, he's under oath here. You're reading under oath testimony. There's a record of it. Okay, there's no transcribed or audio or video record of his conversation with James Baker. There's no audio or video record of his meeting with the two officials from Agency 2. There's only handwritten notes that were done after the fact. So it appears to me what Sussman's going to try to do if this goes to trial. He could change his plea at any time, you know. If this goes to trial, he's going to try to argue. He was always honest about the fact he was doing this on behalf of his clients. He never told anybody he was there on his own. That's what his defense is going to have to be.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm just pulling up because I accidentally skipped the ending of this question here. So let me just get to the. Okay. Actually, no, I got. Okay,
yes,
so
that's the last part.
Yeah, this is the question. Did you you disseminated the information the client provided you? Well, I apologize for the double negative. It isn't not correct, but when you say my client directed me, we had a conversation as lawyers do with our clients about client needs and objectives and the best course to take for a client. And so it may have been a decision that we came to together. I mean, I don't want to imply that I was sort of directed to do something against my better judgment or that we were in any sort of conflict, but this was, I think it's most accurate to say it was done on behalf of my client. So that's the statement. And then we get to the closing piece. On or about September 19th, 2016, exactly 1 or 5 years ago tomorrow, within the District of Columbia, Michael A. Sussman, the defendant, did willfully and knowingly make a material, false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement or representation in a matter before the jurisdiction of the executive branch of the government of the United States, to wit, on or about September 19th, 2016. The defendant stated to the general counsel of the FBI that he was not acting on behalf of any client in conveying particular allegations concerning a presidential candidate, when in truth and in fact, and as the defendant well knew, he was acting on behalf of specific clients, namely Tech Executive One and the Clinton campaign. So, boom, big man John Durham gets him for lying about being paid to create this story. So, some final thoughts, Brian?
Well, if you look at what the summary says that Durham did there, basically he's very politely spelling out that a paid political operative in the employing of the Hillary Clinton campaign managed to successfully launch a dirty tricks operation based on fake evidence to get the FBI to investigate the other campaign in the election. That's what happened here. Okay, now, it doesn't matter that the FBI investigation only lasted a couple of weeks and they quickly determined this was all bullshit and nothing happened. Nothing came of it. Okay, but I'll tell you this, though. If Durham showed, yes, I will indict this son of a bitch for presenting fake evidence to the FBI and then lying about who was paying him to do that, if I indict that guy for doing that, for launching a fake FBI investigation that didn't go anywhere, okay, what do you think I'm going to do to the people who created a fake dossier and gave that to the FBI, and that led to several acts of fraud committed against the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court that led to a fraudulent surveillance warrant on a U.S. citizen? What do you think I'm going to do to those people?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite points you've made is this is a big deal. This is a big indictment, but there's bigger ones coming, much bigger ones, and those are the ones I think we're all waiting for. So, well, Brian, any closing thoughts? We'll be sure to upload this and get all of your Substack and all your links out there. But any closing thoughts before we go? And then guys, I'm still going to hang out for a little bit and do some questions and answers and just chat for a little while. So don't go anywhere. But yeah, close it up, Brian. Your part here.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to what's happening. I don't believe Durham's anywhere near finished. We're gonna see more indictments. Mark Elias is gonna be indicted. Don't forget Stephen Sturmer. In the Clarence Smith indictment, they showed how he, and in the Inspector General's report, they showed he committed 6 acts to deceive to feed the court to keep those warrants being renewed. So there's a lot more coming. It's not stopping at Clarence Smith. It's definitely not stopping at Sussman. That door showing the Clinton campaign behind the scenes orchestrating all this, that door just swung open wide. You're never going to get it closed again, okay? That door is now open, showing the role the Hillary Clinton campaign used and using Perkins Coie as a middleman to launch this dirty tricks operation. And the Alpha Bank stuff is just one leg, I think is the word about it. It's like there's two legs of this thing. One leg is the Alpha Bank leg. The other leg is the Fusion GPS Steele dossier leg. Okay, there's two different branches to this thing. Okay, and Durham's like, okay, statute of limitations about to run out. And the Perkins Coie guy, Sussman. Yeah, better indict that guy. They got that out of the way, okay? But the main leg that people need to pay attention to, the one where the serious shit went down, is the Steele dossier, the one where the fake warrant was granted, okay? Yep. That kind of thing. I mean, I for the first 2 years I was researching Spygate, I had people like Andrew McCarthy and others saying, we don't live in a world, we don't have a government where this kind of thing can happen. This is impossible that this could have happened.
You know, and
okay, yeah, fraudulent warrant. So Durham is not near done. There's a lot more coming.
Yep, and I think too, you said the two big ones, but there's also the DNC hack in there too. So this is more of a three-legged stool, and I think Durham just came in and flipped that stool upside down, and now the Democrats are having to sit on that. So this is going to be fun to watch for a while. So thanks, Brian. We'll get your links up on my Telegram. Thanks for joining. We'll have you on again as more of these come out, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, everybody. So we're going to do some questions and answers here shortly. I'm just going to do one more ad. I have to do 2 ads for a stream, I guess. So I'm going to do one more ad, and then we'll get back. If you're subscribed, you can skip the ad. If you want to skip the ad right now, you can just subscribe right now. So we'll see you guys in 1 minute. Man, Brian is great. You subscribers, he is awesome. He knows his stuff. I can't wait to keep. We'll be doing this pretty much at any indictment that comes out. So this will be really, really good stuff. He is just a genius, and he's the guy who got me into politics in the first place. So I love having him on this. It's like it's coming full circle for me. It's kind of mind blowing right now. Yeah, Brian always does a fabulous job. And we're at 1 hour 15 minutes. We'll probably still take I mean, I got nothing else to do tonight, so we'll crack away and hang out and talk for a little bit. So about 15 seconds left till the commercial's done, and then we'll go a little longer. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around after the commercial. Yeah, Brian's good. Like I said, we're gonna do these more often. Pretty much every indictment, if there's actually this many indictments, I doubt we're gonna have that many shows with Brian on. But we'll do the big ones mainly. And so for now, I'll do questions. We can just chat. We can do comments, whatever. I got nothing else to do tonight. So thanks you guys for hanging out, and we'll just see what happens. So throw some questions out there, whatever you guys want to talk about. We'll go for another 15, 20 minutes or so, maybe. Isn't there a deadline or Durham? Future indictments, I don't know I hope he doesn't play each one just based on, the statute of limitations. I'm hoping that as we progress and move further up the food chain, they'll start coming out quicker. But we'll see. Oops. Durham is funded out of the DOJ, according to Brian. Yes, I did see this. I've heard this. I guess I haven't seen the specific, but I've heard this from multiple people that Nancy Pelosi and her husband, they bought a ton of, like $1 million worth of Crowdstrike or something, even more than that. And it's exploded since, COVID really started. Crowdstrike stock has massively gone up. But, this is what I got to show you guys this. Hold on one second. This was really good. One of the members of our chat sent me some very, very interesting. Gosh, where is it? I just gotta find it. Okay. You guys gotta check this out. This is nuts. Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen here. Okay, so check this out. This is Sean Henry and his insider trading information, like what he's been doing lately. And you go down here, look at these dates on the left side, the transaction dates. September 14th, August 31st, 8/17, everything going back to September of 2020. And he has sold millions of dollars worth of stock in Crowdstrike. Insane. So he knows what's coming. Crowdstrike's about to eat shit, and it's going to be amazing. But yeah, this is disgusting. Sean Henry, the guy who I think is tech executive one, sold everything. So crazy. Yes, something is coming. If I was sorry guys, I'll get that screen out of there. Okay. EBS coming soon. I don't know. Do you think these indictments spread to the Clinton Foundation? I personally do. There's definitely a foreign aspect with this because of all the Russian ties and whatnot, and CrowdStrike, and there's some interesting things with the Atlantic Council that I want to dig into a little bit. But I think Durham his plane was in was it Arkansas, the same the same city or whatever that the Clinton Foundation is at, and so he was there. We don't know what's coming out of it, but I do think there's a lot of nefarious actions through the Clinton Foundation. I mean, it's obvious. Do you think all this ties into surveillance on certain actors such as Schiff and Swallow? I do think they're in trouble. I mean, they were pushing this just as hard as anybody else, especially Schiff. I mean, they would go into committee meetings and be told evidence, and then just 30 seconds later, you'd come out and give a briefing and completely lie and contradict everything they just said. So yeah, Schiff personally is probably one of the guys that I would love to see go to prison more than anybody else. I mean, I know that there's plenty of, Clinton, Obama, all those people, but I just freaking Schiff drives me nuts. I would love to see that guy in cuffs. Yeah. So this is kind of what I heard. He got 2 planes of paperwork. Yep, I agree with you here. Okay, it sounds like I'm not the only one. A lot of people hate Schiff. Someone summarize what's CrowdStrike. Oh gosh. Okay, that's Have you read part 11? They're a tech company. They're worldwide. They're with a ton of people. But they fabricated evidence in the DNC hack. I believe they fabricated evidence in the Alpha Bank communications, and then they are pretty much one of the primary cybersecurity groups protecting our elections, and they download their software onto our machines. So CrowdStrike's in big trouble. They have a ton of ties. They were started by a Ukraine guy who was very anti-Putin. Their current president was a former DOJ, I believe. So CrowdStrike is basically the cybersecurity arm of the Democratic Party. That's why I'm convinced they're the ones that are internet company one, because I don't see them bringing in another tech company when CrowdStrike can do everything they need and cover it all up, because they're the security for like everything. So if there's any nefarious actions, they're the ones that have to look for it and find it, and it's just a bad idea. This really is like a soap opera, America First. That's why I got so into it, like right away when I started reading about this stuff from Brian, because it's so interesting, and there's no better reality TV out there. It's awesome. Yep, and this too. This is a big one. PJL. He mentioned CrowdStrike and St. Ritchie last night during Patrick's read. He had a great comment where Trump asked the president of Ukraine about CrowdStrike to look into it. But you know how Trump operates. He doesn't ask a question that he doesn't already know the answer to. There's a great article from 2017 when Trump first got in, talking about how Trump and he follows Sun Tzu, and that's one of the things. He never asks a question unless he already knows the answer to it right away. So he already knows everything he needs to know about CrowdStrike, and that tells me CrowdStrike's, I mean, they're already finished. It's just a matter of when all this stuff comes out. Let's see. I don't know who the Awan brothers are. Who do you think was involved in SolarWinds hack? Again, read part 11, but I don't know. I know CrowdStrike covered it up, and it's just interesting to me that during the SolarWinds hack, the hackers were looking for emails from CrowdStrike. And so that means they were targeting CrowdStrike specifically. And why would you go after emails when there's so many other things you could go after? I mean, you could go after proprietary data. You could go after tools that CrowdStrike uses. I mean, there's all sorts of things, but that summary of it, where it's like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk going to rob a bank. It's just comical to think of that these sophisticated hackers were in there and they like really didn't do much, but they don't know the full extent of what they actually did. And so I don't know. It's either China and this is how they stole the election, but part of me, I still think it's potentially Cybercom, and this was them getting all the evidence and everything they need. They were watching CrowdStrike mess with the election, or whoever it was mess with the election, and they did it through the SolarWinds hack, and they set the table for it back in March. So it's crazy. Do you think CrowdStrike evidence was on Nancy's laptop? I heard 14 laptops confiscated by Special Ops January 6th. Lindick, I don't know. I've heard the story, but we don't really have confirmation on it. And so anybody throwing out a number like that, it's really hard to speculate on that when you don't even see like a hint of proof of it. And if there is proof of it, let me know. I didn't follow it too deeply. So I was told that ever since Durham had to close his Connecticut office, and he, as special counsel, had to start this whole investigation over and couldn't take any evidence he had before. That's what's taking so long. No, that's not accurate. And the reason it's taking so long is it's so big. And I think COVID had a little bit of a delay too, but I almost think that was an excuse. I think this was such a huge investigation, and I think from day one, Trump knew that he was going to have to implement devolution. And so I think, as they were going through the planning phases of how they wanted to, eventually make their comeback, the reveal is a big thing, and what you reveal and when. Timing is everything, as they say. And so I think that they're timing Durham to start coming out now. Who knows? We might get a couple indictments next week, and then all of a sudden Friday is the Arizona audit. I mean, we're there, guys. This is go time. Things are really heating up. What's your theory on why Gitmo is being added to? Blue Skies. It was something that started under Trump. It's been continued under Biden, even though Biden verbally says he doesn't want to. It's another example of the Biden admin saying one thing and our military acting directly opposite of what he's saying. And so I believe, obviously they're expecting something to be adding a courthouse out to Gitmo. So I think people are going to be sent there, and it's going to be for treason or something. Awans were exfiltrating gigs and gigs of data from house servers under the guise of their kids' homework or some crap. I guess I'm not familiar with that or what you're talking about there. Let's do a couple more. Any other questions? It doesn't have to be about devolution. We can just chat a little bit too. Oh, whoops. Which development are you talking about? It's just me. The servers? Like the latest agreement that was signed? It's just me. Can you throw a comment out there and clarify? Because I'll just clarify on the server situation regardless. Chris Paul had a great post, and it's exactly how I'm thinking. The routers for the audit in Arizona don't really matter to the cyber ninjas, because all we need to see, all we care about, all I care about is the real true vote count. We need to see exactly how many legal votes were for Trump and how many legal votes were for Biden. The whatever happened during, on the machines or whatever it was, I really believe the military has that evidence, and so it doesn't really matter if cyber ninjas have it. We need the military to show that evidence regardless. So Got a Kate Awakening sighting. Nice to see you, Kate. Number one groupie, self-proclaimed. I look like Ezra Cohen. I disagree with you, but thank you. Lindell has Lindell said in August that the Supreme Court would be 9-0 reinstating Trump, and where are we at with that? Let's see. Chat is moving quick. Durham gets to do discovery now. That's going to trial. I don't know specifically how it works, but I think as a special counsel, he and especially with a grand jury, that they already basically did their discovery, I believe. So I don't know. Can you comment on timing? Gun goes bang. Audit and Durham indictment so close. Yeah, the timing, it's definitely it seems purposeful for sure. Then we got Maxwell coming up. What else is coming? The default's coming up, and it's been 8 rough months of Biden. He's been terrible. So I do think this was all planned. It definitely feels that way. It's possible, Joanne, about SCOTUS. I don't know. I do think SCOTUS is likely in the know because of how they handled that case with Texas. The 22 people that brought that lawsuit forward, led by Texas, and they said they had no standing, which is completely opposite. I mean, the whole point of our states, and it's all about standing. If something another state is doing is affecting what they're doing, that's the definition of standing. That's textbook. So it almost appears as if they were kind of told to just let it play out. Again, Trump wanted it to get to this point. I mean, if he showed him the tensions and everything that was happening, potentially leading to a civil war, I don't know. What does my tattoo say? I can show you that. I got on this arm, it's a quote. This is the first tattoo I ever got. It's a Mumford & Sons song. Some days I regret it, some days I don't. And then this is my grandpa's cattle brand. He passed away, so his name, I guess I probably shouldn't say the names. We'll get into that later, but he's my grandpa, my dad, myself, and my son. We all share the same first name and last name, obviously. Yeah, I do have pets. So we've had 2 dogs since we basically got married. And just about a year ago, I was going to the gym. I was backing out of the driveway, and I saw a cat in the yard, this kitten, super young. And went over, it was half dead. It was hit by a car or something. And then a little bit later, this other kitten comes out, and I've never been a big cat guy, but my wife loves cats, and so we have 2 cats now. Yeah, Jim Bob. Once I can go public, I'll change my name from Patel Patriot to Jim Bob Patriot. Thank you, Kate. I don't know. That's a good question. We'll get there when we get there. But we'll see. What hobbies besides devolution? I spend a ton of time with my kids, and I go to the gym, lift quite a bit. I like to golf. I used to do it a lot. I haven't done it much this summer because of this whole devolution series. It's kind of taken precedence. But other than that, I don't do a whole lot. I'm kind of a loser, or a nerd, as some will say. Do you think devolution will be activated when Arizona audit is released? Yeah, that's the timing I think they're waiting for, that Trump's waiting for. I don't know if it'll work out that way. We'll see. I mean, some people think they'll wait until there's audits in Georgia and Pennsylvania too, just so that there's enough to decertify. I personally think all we need is Arizona. I don't think we have till the time to get those audits done as well. So we'll see. Does Q mention Crowdstrike? I believe he does. I've heard, after my last article, I've had a few people send me some things showing Q mentioning Crowdstrike, and a lot of it, it lines up. Again, it's pretty cool. Trump's waiting for the government shutdown. Trump hitting. Oh, that's not the one. I personally think Trump is waiting for the government shutdown. He could be. It's so weird that the Democrats aren't re-signing the limit. They've always kicked the can down the road. It makes sense for them to do it again here. I don't know what they're waiting for. Do you think they'll activate the EBS? I don't know. I'm sure they'll implement some sort of communication where it can't be messed with. I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to do it in a way where they can reach everybody directly. I mean, everybody has a cell phone, so I'm assuming it's going to be something through cell phones. What else? A couple more, and then I'll probably call her a night. Okay, Dan Scavino has been tweeting pics that were first posted by Q. It's getting interesting. Yeah, I'm in that admin group for We the Media, and they were posting some of that stuff. It really is interesting, guys. I mean, like I said, I've never looked into Q, but just the surface level stuff that I've seen based on my Devolution series, there's a ton that lines up. I can't imagine digging into it fully and seeing what happens. When is Trump's Twitter back? That's a good question. I kind of forgot about that because Jack Dorsey, let me see if I can look that up. Jack Dorsey was given like 21 days to respond to the lawsuit. Let me see here. Given 21 days to respond, and I think that, I mean, that was like today or tomorrow or something. If somebody can figure that out, look that up and let me know, or I'll look it up after. But yeah, the lawsuit, we should have a timing. If he doesn't respond, then the defense gets, their remedy to go into effect. So he would be put back on Twitter, I believe, which could be any day now. Which, if that happens this week, that would be absolutely bonkers. Can you imagine Trump live tweeting the Arizona audit release? That'd be so funny. Speaking of that, I think me and Patrick Gunnels are going to do a show on Friday, talking about, I mean, it'll be during the audit, whenever it is. I think it's 1 p.m. But we're going to be live streaming, doing a show, commenting on it, shooting the shit a little bit. So what are your thoughts on the J6 rally? Well, I mean, I was telling everybody not to go. It seemed like a false flag, and it doesn't seem like many people showed up. I saw pictures here and there. And yeah, 1 p.m. Arizona time. Thank you, Pat. But the one picture was the one where those guys were all standing around. They looked like, yeah, here. I think somebody asked if I gave them haircuts. I don't know if that was an insult or not, but let me throw this up quick. One second here. Okay, so yeah, this is with a couple Bidens in the picture. I didn't realize that when I saved that, but yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, they all pretty much look like FBI guys, if you ask me. I don't know. I'm sure they were going to try to do something, and not enough people showed up to make it happen. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna end on that note with this picture again. That was a great picture. Perfect note to end it on. It's one of my favorite parts about being part of that admin group is the memes they come up with are just hilarious. So if you're on Twitch still, go and like and subscribe, or whatever it is, follow, subscribe. And then if you want to support my work outside of Twitch, you can do it through Substack. It's going to be a good week, guys. We're gonna keep plugging away, and I think we're gonna, the momentum is shifted completely. We're in the driver's seat now, and things are good. So let's keep your heads up, stay positive, and we'll get through this together. I'll see you guys over on Telegram, and then I'll see you guys again on Tuesday. So, and speaking of Tuesday, I think Kate is doing a show. I'll share this on Telegram too. I think she's doing a show about homeschooling stuff and some of the journeys some people are going through. And it sounds like it's going to be a really interesting show. So you guys will have to tune in. I think her show, Kate, if you're watching, when is your show on Tuesday? When's your show? And then after her show, you can tune into mine. I'm going to wait for Kate to post the time of her show. Just bear with me here. Okay, there it is. 6 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. So make sure you turn into that show and then come watch me afterwards. So thanks, everybody. God bless. We will see you soon.